Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you are good and well. Ben will be joining me very, very shortly. But anyone who has got a newborn and has just woken up from a nap, you can imagine what goes on. So Ben will be joining shortly, but let's get Evening Brews up and running. Good evening, everyone. So, like I said, Ben will be joining soon, but it gives me the perfect time to just say a quick thing. Tottenham on tour hit a little milestone today. We've been going for a while, but we've been struggling to get some consistency and everything going because of my health and one reason or another. But today we got over the 8,500 subscriber mark. So I want to thank every single person that is watching this live right now or watching this later for your continued support of the channel. The channel is nothing without you guys, so thank you very much indeed. We'll do a quick roundup of the hellos and we'll get into it. And as I said, Ben will be with me from We Are Tottenham TV very, very shortly. So let's do this. Big up to Mr. Sweden, Toney Rodriguez, channel member. Big up. Grocki to Spurs. Toney, you know my feelings with this striker. I pray to God it happens. I don't think it will, but pray to God. And hopefully it does happen. And Margot Robbie does turn up at your crib. Tom Thacker, big up to you, sir. Psycho Fox, good evening. Spurs need a midfielder. Rabiot on a free. Levy will be salivating no matter what and wants a freebie. I really hope this does not happen. He's turned us down 3 times. And now you're without a club. I don't want us to just go, oh, no, now's your time to join us. I don't want him anywhere near us. Tweaky, good evening to you, channel member. Oscar Peters, good evening, sir. Dragon D's Nuts, haven't seen you for a while. Big up, my man. Lisa, how are you, darling? I hope you're good and well. Andrew Gregory, channel member, thank you very much for your support of the channel. Liam, big up to you. Good friend of mine, Chris Davison, good evening to you. Someone I haven't seen for a while, Mr. Steak is in the building. Big up, Alex. The Bertie Hotspur, big up and thank you for the shout out. And everyone do what he says. Smash a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. And always say no to Levy Nomics. Smithy Smith, big up, brother. Who else is here? Scott M is here. The Roadman is here. James Flower, who was meant to be on the show, and he said he got kicked off, but had a job. So he actually took feeding his kids and earning a lifestyle over joining me on Tottenham on Tour. But he will be with me next week. And I said someone will be with me. Here he is, my brother in arms. We Are Tottenham on Tour has come back. Ben, how are you, sir?
I'm great, son. How are you?
I'm very, very good. I'm delighted to see you. How is Joshua, most importantly now?
He's great. I called you son because I've been too used to speaking to Joshua over the past however long it's been. But look, the back signal came out and it had to be responded to. So I'm here. Good to be here.
Yeah, and it's good. We're going to have a little bit of fun. It's going to be a condensed one today because I have to talk to the Canadian government at some point about my PR cards. So got to make sure I do that. And Ben's got a little thing called fatherhood and married life to deal with. But just quickly, some other people have come in. Terry Wright, my brother, big up. Matty, welcome to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for the subscription and welcome to the We Are Tottenham. I've been on your channel so much today. Welcome to the Tottenham on Tour family. And right, let's get into it. There's a lot to go on. First story, Ben, we're going to discuss, as in the thumbnail. My eyes lit up yesterday. You know, my number one choice. Victor Gyökeres is firmly on our radar. I mean, I don't know who isn't on our radar. It's easier to be off our radar than it is to be on it. There's a growing confidence that the striker could be signed, in a cut price deal. Now, I don't know this Dean Jones football, I'm going to say, because I can't say that S word. I don't know much about Dean Jones football, but what do you reckon, Ben?
I'm not sure how realistic it is, but if it is, this is one that I would be dying for to happen. I mean, I was having a debate with Sim on one of our Tottenham updates a few days back. And we were debating, would you rather us splash the boat out 60, 70, 80 million, whatever it be, on a Gyökeres, or do you save a bit of money and go for 25 million for Jonathan David? And I said 100% you got to go for Gyökeres. You got to go for the quality up front. And I think if you can get a Richarlison out the door for 50, 60 million, spend an extra 20 million and get Gyökeres through the door, that is pure talent that you have up front. Gyökeres is a player that's amazing in the air, good with the ball at his feet. He's got a bit of pace to him. I think he ticks literally every single box. I think he'd be perfect in Ange's system as well. And if we could sell Richarlison and go with him and maybe a Lankshear to back him up and to learn off over the next 12 months, I think that would be brilliant for us.
So you know what? Simeon asked me a similar question today. And we kind of went down. I'm with you because I've wanted Gyökeres from the start of the summer. But when you mentioned Jonathan David, if someone said, let's just say it was 80 million, let's just say shits and giggles, 80 million Gyökeres, or someone said Jonathan David and Eze for that combined 80, where are you going on that?
So give me.
So 80 million is splashed out on Gyökeres, and Gyökeres is there. And this is all, obviously, it coulda, woulda, shoulda, if, buts, maybe.
I love your pronunciation.
Mate, I've been trying. I've had Swedish people tell me it. I've had people voice note it to me. So I'm hoping I'm doing it right. So if I said to you, one of these two are going to happen, regardless. If I was in charge, 80 million on Gyökeres, or 80 million and Jonathan David and Eberechi Eze are through the door.
Oof. It's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one. It depends. It depends if we can bring in anyone else on the wing. Can we bring someone else on the wings apart from Eze? Maybe like someone else for cheaper, or is it just good and that's it?
No, let's just say no. I'm going to be a stickler this time because I know how much you and me love Eze. So that's the curveball. I said because of my love for Eze, my love for Eze is bigger than my love for Gyökeres. So I would choose Eze and David solely because Eze is in that equation.
The thing is, right, if we bring in Jonathan David, I feel like I might be completely deluded on this, but I feel like Will Lankshear could overtake him throughout the year. I was so impressed with what I saw yesterday, and he's got everything that we need in a striker. Maybe he's not ready, but maybe he could be ready, maybe second half of the season or something like that. So maybe I would go for the Eze option.
Well, do you know what? You say that. We are going to talk about Lankshear nearer the end of the show, but the new guy that's found us on your channel come up with a question which works perfectly with the next slide I'm just about to bring up, because me and Sim spoke about this today. Obviously, you're getting to speak about this for the first time. So Brentford are ready to slash their asking price for Ivan Toney to less than 50 million due to lack of interest. Tottenham and West Ham are the most likely suitors. And I said to Simeon, Ben, and I'll get your take on it, is this has got what happened with the Raya deal written all over it, hasn't it? They put up a high price, no nibbles, and now they're starting to drop.
Yeah. It's always great taking reputable sources from the Sun. They're always spot on in their news. But, so what we're saying, Toney for 35 million or Gyökeres for 80?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Very difficult one. I think I'll just about go for Toney. But I think Gyökeres is the better player, though.
This is the thing. I mean, obviously, people. Stuart's not in the chat right now. I haven't seen him, but Stuart said yesterday when we were talking about Gyökeres before this rumor came up, was saying how would people have felt if Gyökeres had been signed last season instead of going to Sporting like came to Spurs. I said to me that was not by him trying to do it, but it was a bit of a loaded question because Harry Kane left last summer, so whoever came in, it didn't matter who it was unless it was the top of the top. It was going to be an issue of who came in. But I don't know. I my love for Gyökeres, Toney's Premiership proven, isn't he? There's no doubt about it. He can do it, and
that's the only thing.
The price cut. Listen, if the question now becomes 35 million for Toney or 25 million for David, then I'm the extra 10 million. Go get Ivan Toney. Forget the age difference, whatever it may be. But it's a tough one, isn't it? But at least now strikers are being mentioned, aren't they?
The only thing for me is that why I'm not up for going for Jonathan David on a cut price deals, because I just don't rate him that highly. I really don't. I feel like, yeah, he scores a lot of goals in the French league. A large percentage of those goals are penalties. Spurs don't get any penalties. We got like 1 or 2 penalties last season. Every time I've watched him play, he goes completely missing in games. And we can't have that. We need a player that is going to be, at it for 90 minutes. And I feel like, yeah, he gets in good position, scores goals, but we need more than that from a striker.
Yeah, the one thing I have said, and we spoke about yesterday, he's been linked with Chelsea, West Ham, United, Newcastle. I have said if he goes to one of those teams with the quality they will have around him, I think come January there's going to be a lot of Spurs fans going, oh, we might have missed a boat on that one, because obviously he's doing it in the French league. Like you said, it's not the greatest league and a lot of penalties. Canada, as much as I love them and watch them and support them for obvious reasons, they aren't Premier League level international footballers. So it's a lot of stuff going on there where it's because of who he plays with. If you put him in a Premier League team, I think Spurs will live to regret it. But I completely get the route why people don't want him, because of what they've seen on international duty. So it's a real tough one. But we're going to move on to the next subject. And when I saw this come up yesterday or this morning, my eyes lit up. I got very excited. Tottenham tears. Amanda Staveley, ex-Newcastle board member, is searching for her next football investment, with stakes in Tottenham among the possible targets she's exploring. Staveley has raised about 500 million and has been looking for clubs to deploy the cash. Ben, what was your thoughts when you've seen this?
I haven't seen that.
This broke today. This broke this morning.
I literally haven't seen that. I've been busy today. I literally haven't seen that.
So yeah, so now let's get your immediate impact then.
So Amanda Staveley wants to become a minority stakeholder at Spurs? Is that the situation?
So, as I've seen it develop, there's talks about it being a minority, but then as the story's progressed and the hours have gone, obviously people get hold of it and it's a bit of broken telephone. And now it's like it could be a bigger investment than people think. But either way,
500 million to 4 billion, is that what it's going to go to?
Who knows? Who knows with this crazy world what we're going on? But what's your thoughts on her and possibly doing it? And yeah, do you know what? Paul is right for once. I'm with the breaking news for you, mate. That's a very good point, Paul. The shoe's on the other foot, mate. I
did see the Tottenham update thumbnail that you and Sim did, and I saw Amanda Staveley's picture in there, but I didn't get a chance to have a look at it or search up the news. But I guess this is what it is. Look, I feel like Newcastle fans did like her. I think she did a fairly good job when she went in there. There was obviously problems with FFP and everything like that. She won't have that problem at Spurs. So if she can come in here, pump in some cash and help Spurs go on to the next level, I'm all for it. I don't know too much about her, though. That's the only thing. I'd need to do a bit more research.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, I don't know if yourself or the any of the 70 we've got on here, did you watch the Newcastle documentary on Amazon?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so it's a brilliant. I can't recommend it highly enough for one of these 4-parters. And obviously, like you saw with the Spurs one, anyone, they film bits that they want you to see. What I did see Amanda doing when it came to transfers or trying to support the managers, it looked very, very positive, whatever. But again, I'm not saying, oh my God, that's what she's like 24/7. But you look at it, she came into Newcastle. As you said, Newcastle adore what they've done in getting Ashley out. As I was saying, the concern for me with any investor right now is we don't know if it's for on the pitch or off the pitch.
Yeah.
And if it comes in, and I can understand why, if it's, and Simeon was right when he said to me, if it's off the pitch, surely it'll be to help clear the debt, get the whatever, and then long-term strategy will be better for on the pitch. I'd rather it be, right, 500 mil is coming in, not saying it's all blown, but there's a large percentage that goes right there you go on the transfer market. I mean, what do you reckon it'd be? Do you reckon it would be more infrastructure off the pitch as opposed to on it?
I don't think it will be to clearing the stadium debts, because they've got a really good structure there for clearing the stadium debts. It's all long-term, small financial payments over, a very large number of years and very low interest. So I think they're pretty happy with the way that's going in terms of clearing the stadium debt. I think it would be for now, here and now, and trying to pump cash, maybe not just into the team, but also into other ventures that they've got going around the stadium. They want to gentrify the area of Tottenham even more. So I think it will be to do with that. But I do think it will be to do with the team as well. So I don't think it will be to do with clearing the stadium debt, though.
So let's hope so. And I think the one thing for me, and probably many other people that feel the way I do about a certain owner, as soon as someone comes in, whether it be a minority or slightly more, like a 4, 5, whatever percent, the doors have been opened. That door that has been shut solid for 24 years, the lock is starting to break, and hopefully it's the start of something. I really hope. But what I will say, Ben, and you've broken this so many times we're open for, we've heard this story so many times, hasn't it? Then it becomes news for 2-3 days, and then after 2-3 days it's fish and chip paper and never to be spoken about.
I'll tell you what, though, I just saw something quick on Twitter on Amanda Staveley. Apparently one of the rumors is that she's trying to put a consortium together with Jam Najafi, that Iranian guy that's been in talks with Spurs before, or that's been in proposed talks with Spurs. And when I've done research into him, apparently he's more frugal than Daniel Levy, and I don't know how that's even possible. So I'm not even sure that's a route that we want to go down.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm struggling to compute what you've just said to me. I don't know if I need subtitles or whatever, but sure, that would be just a typical thing, wouldn't it? We'd get the money, or we'd get money assured, and they would be worse than Levy at spending it. But my good friend Gary Becks, people have been commenting on the hairdo. Yeah, exactly. Someone even said, I saw on your comment on We Are Tottenham TV, it's like you're my younger twin brother. So yeah, it's the hair with the Mitchell brothers. That's what I'm going by. So the next story is, yeah, you heard this one, Ben. This one I'm stacking. I'll let people know in a minute. Tottenham are looking to hijack Fulham's £40 million rated Man U midfielder Scott McTominay. You've just mentioned the Sun, and Ben, as people will know how tight you and me are, we had a conversation yesterday, and I said to you, my God, the new way I'm doing things, where I'm not jumping on every single rumour and going, bitch this, bitch that, moaning this, moaning that, doing this, doing that. I'm just taking a step back, evaluating, and when the moment's right to strike, I'll strike. This, to me, is alongside the Conor Gallagher bullshit express. This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, does it?
There is no chance. There is no chance in hell that we go in for McTominay. No chance. I rate him as a player, but he's not the direction that we need to be going in. I just can't see this being true by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like it could be put in the press maybe to get Man United to maybe up Fulham's bid. Maybe it's just completely fabricated out of nothing. But I guarantee you now, McTominay is not coming to Tottenham.
Yeah, and I have to say, Joshua even voiced this dissatisfaction.
He agreed.
Exactly. He vehemently, is that even a word? What people know what I was trying to say. I certainly don't. But moving on from this McTominay one, because I think this McTominay one is absolute BS. I'm going to move to this one now. Obviously, I joke about with you. You've had the Daily Adama, you've had the Daily Porro. We are Tottenham on Tour started doing a show last season where we called it the Tottenham Chronicle, where me and Ben did a roundup of the week gone by. We are now going to follow suit with your Daily Porro, but I am going to do the Gallagher Chronicle bullshit. Is the name
the Gallagher Gazetta?
Oh my God! Matt Law's come out. Atletico Madrid have held talks over, I can't even say his name, CG, in recent days, and have so far shown greater interest than Tottenham. Now, like I've said, I think this is all media outlets and his agent doing it. This isn't Tottenham, but it's not. If it's true and we are there, we've spent a year around this name, buzzing around, whatever, and they are already showing. I really hope they are showing more admiration for the player, whatever word you want to use to get it gone. because I think this is the biggest bullshit story. This is going to become a Damiel, and I hope it has the same story and ending where we do not sign him. But yeah, I mean, what's you're similar to me with Conor Gallagher. It's got to be the biggest load of nonsense, hasn't it?
Look, I'm not totally against it completely. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if we brought him in because I do think he's a good player, but I just can't see it happening. I can't see us dealing with Chelsea. Can't see us spending the money that they require and giving that to Chelsea. I can see him going somewhere like Atletico, but I've got a feeling that come the end of this summer transfer window, he'll still be a Chelsea player. If he doesn't sign the contract, you're looking at January, even a cheaper cut price deal, 25 million, 20 million going into the last 6 months of his contract. Maybe he waits even longer and to the end of the season gets a free transfer somewhere. Maybe that's even more viable. But I can't see anyone splashing big money on Conor Gallagher this summer when they know in a year's time he's going for free.
Yeah, I mean, I did it yesterday, and I think you've done it on We Are Tottenham TV. I brought up the wages that Chelsea play, and I saw like the one I can remember off the top of my head, and funny enough, is because he's my brother, I believe, in Cucurella. Goddamn Cody for starting that. He's on 175 grand a week, Cucurella, and yeah. Conor Gallagher, the assistant, the vice captain for a lot of time because of Reece James' injury. And Reece James' new contract is $250,000 a week, apparently. And he's sitting there on 50 grand.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, we talk about 50 grand like it's a pittance. Obviously, we know it's... but I would be... Surely, I think this is just agent talk to get a new deal, or he's going to let the clock run down and have his pick, isn't he?
Well, apparently the sticking point is that they did offer him a contract, but he wanted to have pay parity with the top earners at Chelsea. With him being captain last year, top earner at Chelsea, I think, is Raheem Sterling on like 350 grand or something like that. And he wanted pay parity with that. And like, there's no club in their right mind that's going to offer Conor Gallagher 350 grand a week. If anyone's going to do it, it's probably will be Chelsea, but I don't think even theirs that's stupid to do that.
Well, I can certainly vouch for that it won't be us. Yeah, because it certainly won't. Could you imagine if he eclipsed Son's wages and he came in, the outrage? Listen, I'll tell you, Gary, the context would be, it's not hate. I think at Crystal Palace, I thought he was a really exceptional player and he looked really, really good. Yes, like I've said all along, I can understand why Ange wants him. I can understand that he has the attributes to maybe be the engine in that midfield. I am more, and people will disagree with what I've said, and Ben will know my love for Morgan Gibbs-White. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is more disciplined and could probably learn to do more than just one midfield position. I just don't like, and the main thing is he is Chelsea through and through, just like we speak about like Harry Kane was, like a certain person whose name I won't mention. We know who I'm talking about. I don't want him.
Where does he even fit in? We've got Bentancur, we got Sarr, we got Bergvall, we got Gray, we got Bissouma, we got Maddison. Those are all midfielders that are going to be here next year. Like, where does he fit in?
Well, the other thing is, and Gary mentioned it, and you and me said this on the day he signed. Gary said, with Archie Gray. Archie Gray is coming in. I said when I was on your show that I think we have signed a younger and by in the next few years, potentially better player than Conor Gallagher is right now. And again, see, Joshua agrees. so Joshua's definitely agreeing. I mean, I don't see where he fits in.
Yeah, I don't think he does fit in whatsoever. And I'm looking at it now, and I was thinking about this last night. Do Spurs even need a midfielder? Do we have enough creativity in that midfield? Do we have enough number sixes? I'm looking at our number 6 options for next year, and I think it could be Gray and Bissouma. Unless Bissouma leaves, I don't think we're bringing in a number 6. And number 8, we've got Sarr, Benteke, or potentially Bergvall. I don't think we're bringing in number 8. And then number 10, you've got Maddison and Bergvall as well. So I can't see us bringing in a midfielder this summer.
There you go. So there was a question that came in that was said, someone asked, who's the top Ben Daniel or Ben Kaufman? Ben Kaufman has come in to add to that, and he has said, I am number 2. Daniel is the top Ben. So I have this, and I have this with Brian Ireland. And we get called B1 and B2, and Ireland says I'm older than you, so it's me. And I've tried to fight it, but I can't fight it anymore. So Ben has been very humble there and saying that you're the top tier one Ben. Tier one Ben. Right, let's move on to the next story, and it's going to be this one. And this is why when you said Lankshear, and I actually would have a good discussion on this one. Now, Alistair Gold has come out and said it's understood for the past week or so in training with the first team, Lankshear has been the most impressive centre forward in the group. Now, the question I want to ask you, Ben, or the discussion, and everyone in the chat, is, as you know, Ben, when I've been on your show, I've spoken about how I think Dane Scarlett, there's a player there. You see, Joshua is in full agreement. I've said that I think Scarlett needs a run of games. I think Scarlett needs to, but obviously he hasn't progressed. The loans he's gone to, he hasn't had the game time for whatever reason. I think Lankshear, has taken over him. I think if there's a striker that stays at Tottenham, out of the young crop, at least for the first 6 months or till January, I think Lankshear now stays and Scarlett goes on loan. What about you, Ben? And everyone in the chat.
It's an interesting one. It really is, because every time you've seen Dane Scarlett play, I have liked the look of him. I liked the look of him yesterday as well. But I feel like he's running low on confidence. He's snatching at his shots. His finishing seems to have gone missing. But I feel like everything outside of his finishing, whether his movement, his physicality, does look good. He needs a loan spell where he's playing week in, week out, and where he can really get that confidence back. Because I still believe there's a good player in there with Dane Scarlett. And we got to remember, we got Alejo Belize here as well.
Yeah,
who I've also been impressed with every time I've seen him play. He got his first Premier League goal last season at Brighton. And then, you know, he was starting to get minutes, starting to break into the team a little bit. And then he got that injury and then ended up going on loan. And the loan was obviously terrible for him because he played no football. In terms of that report from Ali Gold, I'm wondering if he's putting Son in there as well, because is Son considered as a striker in the Spurs squad?
I don't know where we look. I mean, obviously he started striker yesterday, didn't he? In the team we played, it was who played? I can't remember. So it was Johnson, Johnson, Son, and Kulu, wasn't it? Was it Kulu playing there, or was it? I can't even remember.
Solomon.
So there you go. Easily forgettable with that performance. But yeah, I honestly think Lankshear, he's got the. Listen, we know he's got the physique. He's got 30 odd goals last season.
Yeah,
and he's come in. And he had his opportunity. He had only 20 minutes. And thankfully, I was watching it with Ben, Tom, and Dave, just on a little back behind the scenes thing here. And I didn't get to see why he went off. I thought, was it a knock? And then Valise. And I was like, but when I was talking with Simon, it looked like obviously he wanted to give all the strikers a go.
Yeah.
He came on and he took his opportunity really well, didn't he?
He was unbelievable. And I was actually a bit blown away by his performance. It was such a short spell, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it may be. But he did everything that you want to see a number 9 do. He was backing into defenders. He was showing his physicality. He was showing for the ball. He was looking confident. He was running in behind. Great movement. When he didn't get in front of that defender for the cross that Werner put in, he didn't let it phase him. He went again and scored a minute later with some really good positional play. So I was so impressed by him, and he didn't look like a 19-year-old. He looked like someone in his mid-20s where the defenders that he was coming up against, nothing fazed him. He was a physical match for every single player that he came up against yesterday. And I was always of the thinking that we should send him down to Birmingham League One, get Chris Davis to get a hold of him and get him starting week in, week out. So, you know, he'll put his development at the forefront of his mind, because obviously he cares a lot about these boys that he brought through over the last couple of years. But after seeing him yesterday, I know it's only Hearts, I know it's just a preseason, I know it's only 15 minutes, but he looks like he's got a lot about him. He really does. So if we can sign a striker, sell Richarlison and have him as the rotation option in the Europa League, and maybe send Scarlett out on loan, I'm not sure what to do with Valise, but maybe another loan for him will do him the world of good. So you have Lancashire, you have a new striker, and with Lancashire as well, I think he can get goals. I really do.
I think he can, and I have to say, I don't know if you see him ever in your chat, because obviously your chat goes absolutely mental. But there's someone here, Colin Crossamano, as I've now called him, has said there's talks of Wrexham wanting him. Colin, is that Lankshear, or is that Scarlett, or is that Valisa we're talking about? But Wrexham wouldn't be a bad place either, would it? They're really on the up and coming, so would that not be a bad move?
Depends for who.
That's a good point. I'll wait for Colin to put his comment in. But yes, so listen, whilst we're talking and waiting for Colin to say that, you look at it and there's certain people like Ben. Are you still there? Have I frozen? Guys, can you still hear me? I don't know if I've frozen or Ben's frozen. Uh-oh. Guys, if you can hear me in the comments. I'm trying to find out if it's me that's gone. Let's have a look. Okay, all right, you can write. I was just messaging Ben. Ben's frozen, so Ben will come back. Thank you, I love the power of YouTube. You just speak, and now I'm getting billions. Brilliant, you can hear me. Ben is frozen. So where were we? Talking about the youngsters, but hopefully Ben will be back with me soon. I don't know if he doesn't or he can't. If Ben K, who I can see in the chat, can quickly jump in, but. Let's talk about this man whilst we wait, because he's back. He's back once again. Let's have a look. So, Ben, welcome back. I went into a right panic there. I didn't know if it was me or you, but then the great community let me know it was you that had gone wonky. Colin was talking about Lankshear to Wrexham.
I prefer, if he's going down to League One, which Wrexham are in, right? League One?
Yeah.
I prefer him to go to Birmingham.
So it's a good shout. It's a good shout because you got that link, haven't we? Like you said, with what's his name? I can't forget what his name was again. Who's it that's gone there? And he's gone again. Ben and his great internet connection. It isn't just at We Are Tottenham TV towers. Big up, Mr. Sean Slater. Mr. Kaufman, if you're about, jump on. If you are about, because I think Ben is having some issues, and we'll keep the conversation going. But whilst I'm waiting for someone to join, I will start doing some of the questions that I saw coming in. Thank you, Colin Crossamano, with Chris Davies being the manager. You was at the game yesterday, brilliant. All I will say is the Spurs fans, once again, the travelling support. Whether the team obviously was just against Hearts, but one thing I've always said is the Spurs travelling fan base are the most passionate and incredible fans, and they were incredible. Reminds you of Carol. Listen, as I came on We Are Tottenham TV yesterday, Ben mentioned about Alfie Devine's performance, and here's the cough. Okay. Here's the cough. He's coming. Oh, you're what? Look at that. Look at that. Jumping in. Just quickly having a quick chat about Devine, Ben, and Mr. J. Ashraf was saying it reminds him of Carrick. What did you think of my man Devine yesterday?
I mean, we don't know too much about Devine yet, except he's Brian Daigle's favourite footballer ever. So
it's always good. Just slightly ahead of him.
I'm really happy that he's had a good game so far, and long may it continue. Long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about Devine, listen, not that I'm a stalker or anything. It's his birthday on August the 1st. And he will be 20 years old. 20 or 21? That's really bad. Yeah. I know I can't remember the birthday it is. I think it's 20. Donnelly, who's playing on the left, I have to say a shout out to Sean. And I have to say, actually, a big shout out to Sean, because although it didn't happen, Sean has a way of communication with Jamie Donnelly, and he was trying everything he could to try and get Alfie Devine to send me a personal happy birthday, but it couldn't be arranged. And just the thought of doing that, Sean is an incredible dude for doing that. But yeah, so you look at it, Devine, I want to see him. I will say someone that I know very, very well that knows, I went to school with Ryan Mason, called me to say they'd had a discussion with Mason, and whenever he speaks to him, he always asks about Alfie for me.
Yeah.
And what they said about Alfie is when they looked at him, they said last season they were delighted with him at Port Vale, delighted. But when it came to Plymouth, oh, wait a minute, is he back?
Is he back?
There we go. You can have two Bens in the same room. We'll have for the last part of the show. We'll have you both on. So, but we're just talking about Devine, Ben.
Replace me already.
Mate, listen. When your internet's choppy, I have to make sure. So I went with your namesake. But as we're saying with Devine, they were saying from what the guy told me, what Mason said, and this is straight from Mason, is that Alfie Devine at Plymouth, they thought would have progressed more and had a better impact in the Championship. But they also are aware that Plymouth got rid of the manager that brought him in and didn't give him the game time that they asked for or they agreed to or whatever. So 1 minute he was playing and he did well. Some games he came off the bench and did bad. Plymouth fans were speaking like, oh, my God, he's crap, which I won't accept. But I think Devine, even though his performance yesterday, and what we might see pre-season, he needs to go to a Watford, a Luton, a Leeds, and play regular, and I mean regular, first-team football. I mean, Mr. Daniel, I'll go to you first. If you could pick a Championship team for Devine to go to, where you think we've got a relationship with, or he would get a lot of experience and game time from, who would you pick?
I think you called it spot on when you said someone like a Luton, because I think their manager would really believe in him. I think he's a good manager, good man manager. I think he'll put his development first. I think Luton could be spot on. Are they a bit too high up in the Championship where he'll find minutes hard to come by? I'm not too sure. Could Leeds be a good place for him? I'd probably go for Luton. I'd probably say you're probably right there with Luton.
Well, the reason I say Luton as well, before I get Ben's choice as well, is remember now they need a replacement for Ross Barkley. So if there's a player that can go in and play that role, I think that, and Luton obviously distance-wise, a couple of people are saying Norwich. Just a quick one before I ask you, Ben, about the loan team, Mr. Kaufman. Colin Cosimano, as many people have been asking, how is your dad?
He's home, so that's all that matters. He's a pain in our neck again, and that's all we're back to it.
There we go, sir. There we go. Now, who would you say if Devine could go to loan?
It's got to be a Luton. It's got to be a team like a Luton, just because when you're on loan, you're going to be at the club at least 1 or 2 days a week anyway. So a Luton would be a really good shout for an Alfie Devine. And yeah, I think Luton's a good team. They've got a great manager as well, so get him there.
What about a Burnley with Scotty Parker?
There's a shout
Burnley
there.
wouldn't be a bad shout as well, but I think Luton is a more established football club at the moment. I think they know what they're doing.
Well, yeah, we'll put it this way: if he goes to Watford, the only problem you got is they could potentially have 6 managers during the season. You never know how many.
Only 6.
That's on a good season. But yeah, let's go through some of the questions and then we'll wrap up. We brought this up before, and it's going to be good to get the three of us talking. We'll go to you, the cough first. Gary, we brought this up already, but Archie Gray, I've seen a lot of people I've seen Bergvall linked to Pirlo. I've said Mikey Moore because of his trajectory. Have I said that word right? I think I have. To Rooney, Fowler, Owen because of the 16-year-old and the way he's coming through. I've seen people mention Dembele a couple of times. Press resistant, can dribble, can pass short and long. We'll play him in, ruin him. That's the main focus. Let's fix on that part. Mr. Clinton, do you reckon playing him in the jack of all trades kind of way would ruin him, or it'll be an advantage?
At his age, he needs to learn one position. For me, that's just the way to go. Until he's got one position down, playing him in multiple positions is just going to hamper his development. They've got to get one position down and then branch out into different fields of play. But one position is all you need, really.
There you go. Mr. Daniel, sir.
I mean, usually I would agree with that, but I think in the way that Ange Postecoglou likes to play his system, a right back is more or less a central midfielder anyway. A central midfielder is a central midfielder. They're all bombing forward. They're all forward thinking. So I feel like whether he plays at right back, whether he plays at centre midfield, I don't really think it makes too much difference for his development. I still think he's going to develop into a very, very strong central midfielder. Because you look at the way central midfielders play in an Ange system, it's not your orthodox central midfield right back, is it? It's not.
No.
So you're more or less occupying in those central areas anyway. So he's going to use all the skill sets that he needs to develop in both positions. So I don't have a problem with him playing at right back or centre midfield. But with the emergence of Jed Spence yesterday, with Pedro Porro there, I think he will be a central midfielder moving forward this season.
Yeah, I've got to agree. Listen, the three of us were very happy when he signed for us, Archie Gray. He had his first proper time that we got to see him live and playing out of position in central defence. I was very, very impressed with what we saw. Yes, it's Hearts, whatever, but my God, that was something to see. Right, Mr. Kaufman. Matty has come in with a question here, and you and your love for Italy. Dybala or Chiesa?
Chiesa, every day of the week. We don't really need a second striker at the moment unless they're a player like an Ivan Toney. Chiesa can play any position in the front four. He can play as a centre midfielder, play as a right wing, left wing striker, anywhere. So Chiesa, because of his versatility.
There you go. Now, Ben, I'm going to just chuck something with you with this question as well. David's going to go into more detail with it on the transfer show tomorrow. But there was a rumour, I can't remember who from, that we've apparently offered Chiesa a contract. We've spoken about Chiesa when I've been with you on We Are Tottenham. What's your feelings on Chiesa?
I'm going to agree with Ben. I like Chiesa. I think that he hasn't been able to recapture his form since before that ACL injury. But I feel like Juventus went a completely different way since he had that ACL injury. So I feel like get him in an Ange system, you'll start seeing the best of Chiesa once again. I thought at the beginning of the Euros, the first two games, I really enjoyed watching him. Direct forward player. I think he's got bags and bags of quality.
Yeah.
Get him under Ange's wing. Ange can get him back to his best. I'm pretty certain of that.
I mean, we've been shouting about how much we want Eze, because we all love Eze. Eze's a great player. Chiesa is twice the player that Eze is at the moment. So getting a Chiesa, that's a top quality midfielder. You're
100%.
talking almost world class. I love Eze, but for 20 million, you have twice the player. No brainer.
Right, let's go back, and I'm going to go to Mr. Daniel first. Let's go back. Do you remember we started this with 80 million for Gyökeres?
That was exactly in my mind, Brian.
or mate, you and me are always. Or then we said Eze and David. Let's take out Eze. Chiesa and David for whatever the fee is combined.
50 million.
Or Gyökeres. And people in the chat.
I think Gyökeres.
You think Gyökeres over... So Gyökeres over Chiesa and David. But when it was Eze and David, you and me were kind of more like Ebereche. Ben.
Because I'll tell you why.
Go on, Daniel.
I'll tell you why. Because Chiesa, as much as I think Ange can get him back to his best, it's still a big risk. I think Jonathan David is also a big risk. Where I think Gyökeres, I don't think Gyökeres is too much of a risk. I know he's not Premier League proven, but has played in this country before and smashed it in the Championship. He's gone over to Sporting Lisbon, smashed it over there. I think Gyökeres is a sure thing, where I think the other two are a bit of risk, a bit of gamble, where if you put Eze in there, he's not a gamble. He's Premier League proven. He knows exactly what he's coming to do. So that's why I made my decision that way.
All right, Mr. Koff, what was your choice?
Give me a Chiesa and an Ivan Toney. That's what we need. We need a target.
That wasn't part of the deal. You're negating.
It's what we need. We need a target now.
Yeah, I mean, Ivan Toney, I'm
changing the rules, Brian. I'm changing the rules.
I think
Give me an Ivan Toney and a Chiesa. That's what we need.
I have to say, I think after the news today with Brentford, whether it's I think there is. I think
We
Ivan
like to change the rules here.
I think Ivan Toney has jumped ahead of the queue right now. If what Brentford have said is correct. Right, let's go through a couple.
Brian, why can't we just go get Ivan Toney and Chiesa and then finish on them two?
Because that would be simple. That would be, I mean, there's going to be so many twists and turns on this. I will say, just very quickly to bring it up from graduate, thank you. Well done, Brian, keeping a lid on and staying balanced. Listen, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Has my stance on the board changed in any way, size, shape or form? Hell, goddamn no. I am as Levy out as I always have been, but I've realised there is more to talk about with football and Tottenham than just bitching and moaning every single second of every single day about Daniel Levy. I've had this chat with Mr. Daniel yesterday saying, do you know what? I look back at myself and sometimes I look back at streams like a year later to see, hey, what did I say? Has it come, whatever. And I looked at myself and someone would ask me a question and somehow, some way, I got it to Daniel Levy when it had nothing to do with him. I hate the man.
Yeah.
I want him gone. I want change. But I've decided if I want to engage and have better conversations, I need to be able to talk better. And I don't mean more eloquently, just to have a bit of perspective on other people's thoughts. And then when I do need to engage in a debate, it will hold more weight. So we're trying things differently. I still feel the same. Don't get me wrong. If I'm ever back in England and there's a protest, I guarantee you I will be forefront and centre of it with the people that I stand with. But there's more things to talk about. The season's coming. The window's open. Let's see where we go with it. Because I've just people to see I had a downward spiral last year, mental health wise. Certain things going on within the community, as people will know. I'm not going to bring that wanker's name into it. And certain things, and it took over my life, and I'm not allowed to do it again, especially with my health issues I've had. So, yeah, right, let's get on to this. Donnelly has a very good left foot, capable of pulling out the best passes and shots if he's capable of great things. What have you been making, Ben, of Donnelly's left back selection?
I thought he looked good. Maybe defensively he might have been caught out a few times, but I don't know if the plan is to play him there or we're just doing it just because we've got no one else to play there at this moment in time. Davis is injured, the doggy is injured, so he's the best fit to play there. So I'm a bit unsure what to do with Donnelly over this next year because, like I said, we're very stacked in midfield. Is he going to be a left back, a rotation option at left back going forward? Can't really see it, even though I do think he played the role fairly well. It is only Hart, so maybe we'll see how it progresses over pre-season. But it's a very difficult one to see how we progress with him. Maybe it is one where he also needs to go get a loan out, maybe a lower end of the championship. I mean, upper end of the championship, lower end of the Premier League, and see how he develops over the next year. But I feel like he is a top player, and he will be a top player.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Slater, who's as big a fan of him as I am, Devine, has said, can you imagine them both going to Luton in a double swoop? That would be incredible. But what I do like about it is obviously he seems to he has all the attributes like a Destiny, doesn't he? He's better going forward. He has it. Yes, he got caught out in defence, but this guy I think has got a big future at Tottenham, and it's good to see him getting game time, isn't it?
It's great. It's absolutely great to see him. He's got such a great football brain on him. His football IQ is very, very high, and he's got a massive future within the game and at this football club, and he's Tottenham through and through. So what more could you ask for?
There you go. Well, listen, on that note, guys, we're going to wrap it up so Ben can get back to parenthood. Ben, always a pleasure to have you on, and thank you for gracing us on the channel. I always hate saying this at the end. Tell people where they can find you and what to expect on the channel.
We Are Tottenham TV. You'll see Brian Daigle's face. You'll see my face. You'll see Sim's face. Covering Tottenham content every day. So big up. Thank you very much for having me on.
My pleasure. And Ben's just said it right. Listen, and it's right. And I speak to Ben about this so many times, and Simeon. You look at this community, whether you support what they say or don't support what they say, you like them as a person, you don't like them as a person. The only person in this community that I knew before We Are Tottenham TV was Stel, because I went to school with him, grew up with him, have known Stel for now, 34 years. Not a single person that I stream with or you watch knew anyone. And the only way that they all got together and all started was appearing on We Are Tottenham TV. So that's why forever, no matter what, you will hear me. If they ever get a Lifetime Achievement Award, I am going to be doing the people that induct them, and it will be like a 3-week speech. But
it'll only be because of you that we get one of those, Brian, because of the all the you're our best. Well, just show them the tattoo. That's all you need to say.
Oh, mate, that's because of Levy. I've still got it. And then I made another stupid bet and had to get Tottenham on tour done here. So, as you know, my wife has stopped me from making tattoo bets, which will no longer be a part of my repertoire. But Ben, obviously, let people know you've got some big news and big things coming up next week. Where will people be watching your content from?
Well, first stop is Singapore. We'll be arriving in Singapore on Tuesday. We're there for like about 48 hours, and then we fly off to Tokyo to cover the game against Vissel Kobe, and then we're in Korea for a week to cover the 2 games in Korea. So I can't wait for that. Yeah,
I look forward to watching the content you have you put out. So, guys, tomorrow is the day off from Evening Brews. There will be Morning Brews. There will be Dave's transfer show to take over this spot. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, whatever you're doing. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, Levy.
Come on, you Spurs.
Tottenham.